Welcome back. In this lesson, we will dive into the world of game physics. Well, maybe just a little splash. So, just like in reality, our game is bound by physics. As game developers, we get to separate or distinguish between objects that are affected by physics and objects that are not. So, but how does that work? Well, we can use something called a rigid body. Adding a rigid body to a game object simply tells Unity that this game object should be affected by the physics engine. Let's add a rigid body to a cube in the air and see what would happen. So just adding a rigid body will make the cube get affected by gravity. And if we think about it, gravity is just a force that will pull our game object downward. So if we want to get rid of the gravity, we simply need to change the setting of our rigid body. So here you can see the force is pointing down. We can just remove the use gravity checkbox, and this way our game object will no longer be affected by gravity. But we can still apply different forces to it because it still has the rigid body. Let's look at this ball that also has a rigid body. If we add force to it in the left direction, you can see it will start to move in the direction of the force. And with enough force, the ball will be able to climb the wall or the cliff here and become one with the stars. So you see, it's being pushed with enough force because gravity doesn't pull it down. The force will push it up. Of course, there's a little bit of friction as well, but overall, it does the trick. Another type of force that we can see in our games is torque. Torque is a force that will cause an object to rotate. An example is a screwdriver where we applied torque to it so we can rotate it and maybe fix something. Unfortunately, not bugs. So just like a normal force, we can apply a torque to our game objects with rigid bodies. So you can see here, the torque is moving this game object here. So let's apply the knowledge in our game and see it in action.